This is 1/3 audio series.
Shalom and welcome back to 1/3 podcast with Ohadah by Abiezer, your hostess. Before we get into this topic, I just want to give the Creator honor, the glory, and the praise and the reverence that is due unto His name at this very moment. Thanking Him for life, my life, your life, those dear to you, and for Him even blessing us and bringing us this far. And He has inspired me to bring about a topic. And as you know, I choose modesty. And so this topic is going to delve around modesty and the reason I chose modesty. The reason or certain things and situations in my life that inspired me and forced me and compelled me rather to choose modesty. So let's get right into it. And this is a part of my Real Talk series, so I won't be holding back. I'm going to be vulnerable and transparent, but I want you to know that this is not to target you or anyone. This is just me explaining the reasons I made choices in life and those individuals that inspired me. That being, starting from those who are very close to me, like my father first. He was my first teacher. My father and mother, and I honestly grew up around very modest women. I have to say, modesty was in my household. My paternal and maternal grandmothers are very, very modest women, and they helped to form and shape the woman I am today. And as time went on, my father was raising me. He admonished me and my sisters and even my brother to be modest. And modest not only in our thinking, modest not only in our dressing, but also our thinking, our talking, our walk. And so modest is far beyond just the outer appearance. It starts within. So therefore you can reflect modesty on the outside. Now, of course, I'm always going to use the Creator's words to validate my point, because His word stands alone and on its own. But then I'll also explain to you what shaped and finally compelled me to say, I'm going to do it. When I read chapters in the book of this Tanakh, who many may have thrown away, many may not read, again, it's just reference, so bear with me, right? Bear with me. As I skim through this and I am striving to be a studious student, I read in the book of Isaiah, the 61st chapter. It's a very small precept. Bear with me now. So the prophet is saying, I will greatly rejoice in Yehovah, the creator and maker of heaven and earth, the one who gave you life, me life, everyone life who has ever been in existence. My soul shall be joyful in my power, for He hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of victory, as a bridegroom putteth on a priestly diadem, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her growth, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so Adonai Yehovah will cause victory and glory to spring forth before all the nations. And when you read this in totality, you understand what the prophet Isaiah is speaking about. He's really speaking about the return of Israel. But as I pay attention to the metaphors, that he used. And as you know, this was thousands of years ago. And so as an Israelite, being my nationality Hebrew, I've always wanted to know, how did we dress? You know, there are certain pictures and artifacts and things that are left for us to kind of put a puzzle together. And so I've used references, and this being one of them. Now he speaks about the Creator adorning him in robes of victory. And so understanding that during that time, he's relating to the apparel in that time. And so I'm like, so, okay, robes were worn, you know. Not only that, a bridegroom, as a bridegroom, putteth on a priestly diadem. So then it gives me realization that during weddings, the men would, and I looked through the word diadem and got it from the Hebrew. And this basically is a royal crown. A royal, it's not a crown, but it's usually made from fabric, but it has jewels in it. And so this just, I get admired and inspired by these things. The apparel that our ancient forefathers and mothers adorn themselves in. And that just moves me. That really moves me to replicate that, especially on this journey of finding myself again. And we're all finding ourselves, all of us who have been brought from the west coast to Africa as we fled from the Romans from northeast Africa, and we were then shipped across the seas to now we're dispersed everywhere. Nonetheless, that type of thing inspires me, and so I look deeper, you know, because it's like, okay, what are you telling me from there? And if I flip to Exodus, the 28th chapter and the 42nd verse, and I also have it here on my screen, so that will save me some time. I read precepts like, and thou shalt make linen breeches to cover the flesh of their nakedness. From the loins even to the thighs they shall reach. And this is really speaking about the sons of Ohadah, being in Aharon being the high minister, who somewhat, and in today's we would probably say priest, but just the history and the connotation with priests. I don't like to use that English word, but in Hebrew it's a kohen, and it's basically a servant, a minister who carries out certain tasks that a common man, if he even tried, he may be killed by the Creator by touching holy vessels and things of that nature. And so if you read in the chapter of Exodus the 28th, the Creator is telling Moses to dress Aharon and those of his bloodline, the Kohanim. And so my first thing is like, hey, let me dress the way the Creator wants me to dress. And so throughout that chapter, you'll recognize that he makes sure that they cover themselves. He even goes further to say, and if you read in the 20th chapter of Exodus, the 22nd verse, neither shall you make steps going up to my altar, so that your nakedness will not be uncovered. And so when I read that, I realize that I'm serving a Creator that admonishes me to cover myself. That if he wouldn't even want men walking up to his altar on stairs, and perhaps someone may look under their robe, it may happen, and you see their nakedness, and people are not strong in their minds. Some people may pervert that and start to imagine very perverted things. And so the Creator is a Creator of prevention. And so as I infer that, I realize, I serve a modest Creator. He doesn't want me showing my nakedness. And I mean, you know, we may ask, and I may ask myself, what does dressing myself and adorning myself have to do with being closer to the Creator? Well, in fact, I believe it has a lot to do with getting closer to Him. Because throughout the scriptures, if you ever search them, you realize that when the Most High brings shame on a nation or a people, He always metaphorically says, I will uncover your nakedness to shame you. And so when I recognize that, and I understand and can empathize that, it makes me want to choose modesty. Now, I have not always been this modest my whole life. Again, I was taught to be. But after some 21 years, now that I am 21, I'm reaching 22, but 21, I realize that it's the best choice I can make. Because I have worn something that was tight-fitting. Again, I'm being vulnerable here. I'm being transparent. I worn something that revealed my curves, something that revealed my buttocks or the shape of me. And sisters, can you agree that it makes you feel ashamed? I mean, for me it does. I feel very ashamed revealing my shape to, even if it be women and men. It just never has settled with me. And even as a young girl, I knew that, even sometimes you were dressed in European clothing to go to school, like jeans, and just trying to be like, I grew up around, I grew up in America, so I was around that culture, and I know the dress and things like that. And as you get older, you recognize everybody's dressing to be seen. Even as I got in high school, I mean, school changed from being, education to a fashion show. It became horrible. It really did. And it was the dress. And I realized also the way that I dress, I'm either going to attract lustful, imaginative individuals and spirits, or those that will respect me by the way that I dress. And so those things have compelled me to just choose to cover myself. And I believe that if I cover myself, I would get a blessing. And it may sound silly, or it may just sound like a blank statement. But as I search this book, I'm beginning to realize that my Creator wants me to be modest. And so I say these things in hope that someone else, maybe younger than me, a young daughter, would realize that you don't have to show your body. You don't have to dress in clothes that are so fitting that it reveals your whole shape. It's beautiful, the Almighty made women, us, and even men, but I'm speaking about females. He made us very shapely and beautiful, and He knows why He did that. And I believe that it's for one person to see when you get married. And I'm standing strong to that. And again, I haven't been perfect with this, but I choose modesty. And so I will go further. Again, I'm always going to validate my point with the Almighty's words, because His words stand alone. I also take a look in the book of, let's see here, Samuel. This is, if you read the 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, this is when we asked for a king, the nation of Israel, because so many other nations had monarchs, and kind of like you see today, presidents and parliaments, and we wanted that. Our king was the supreme eternal power. He fought for our behalf. He was just there for us. So nonetheless, we wanted what the other nations have. And we asked for a king, and so when we seen this king, we looked upon his countenance, and just understand what the Most High is saying here. Let me get this for you. Okay, so it's 1 Samuel, and I'm going to go there now because it's not pulling on my screen here. But 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, this is where I got this understanding from. Getting there now. All right. 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter. This is where I got this from again. So, the 7th verse here. But Jehovah said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For it is not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but Jehovah, the Creator of all, looketh on the heart. And when I read that, it just reveals itself. Because also, in this book, as many may say, there's never been a written, an exact format of how we should dress. And maybe that's so. But we serve an intelligent power who gave us intelligence. And so with our intelligence, we should look for clues like this. And so when I realized that the Creator says that He looks at the heart of men. Not to say that, okay, let's walk around naked because we should just be looking at the heart. No, I'm saying that because even when we are searching for or even being attracted to, be careful what you're really attracting yourself to. It may be lust or maybe that soul. You should be looking on the soul of an individual, and that's what I learned. The soul, people with beautiful soul come with handsome faces. They come handsome. They come beautiful. And that to me is a reflection of the beautiful soul. Because there is also beautiful people, but with a very bad, or at least their battle is very hard. They are letting the evil ropes tie them down, and so they can be evil people. But again, when I read that, I recognize that, okay, I shouldn't dress in a way that's going to make someone look on my outer appearance. Because again, we were looking on this tall man saying, oh yeah, he's perfect for a king. He's tall, definitely. He got to be a king. So the Most High was like, see, he don't look at things that we look at. His thoughts are so higher. And so again, if we made in his image and likeness, I'm just trying to be in the image and likeness of the Most High. And so I hope that you're following me with this. I hope I'm making sense. This is just some things I've been coming across and have begun to realize that it's time to be more modest. That goes with regaining our position back as a nation. Even if you're watching this and you may not claim to be an Israelite, but history, artifacts, blood, spirit, and most importantly, the Creator, it proves that if you came on those slave ships and your family was fleeing from Northeast Africa from the Roman persecution, and you got picked up on that Atlantic slave ship, and even if you're still left in Africa, and you've been brought to America, you've been brought to the Caribbean, you can trace your history back, and you know your ancestors were on those ships. This is talking to you. Modesty is important as we regain our position back. Because, again, when you work internally, you're going to reflect that outwardly appearance. And it's beauty. The Most High wants us to be beautiful. Dress and adorn yourselves. Dress and adorn yourself. Cover yourself. It's beautiful. It's far beautiful, as I begin to realize, than me wearing tight-fitted clothes. If I wear clothes that are flowing and that don't reveal my shape, and I can adorn and deck myself with jewelry. Even if you gotta get some fake, do your thing, but adorn yourself and cover yourself. That is the message that I hope you understand I'm trying to make to you. Okay, so I'm finishing up here with where I got my knowledge and my wisdom from this great book that was left for us. Isaiah the 60, my apologies, Ezekiel 16, right? So I'm going to go there quickly. Please bear with me. Again, this is just some studying I've been doing, and as I said, I strive to be a studious student all the days of my life. Not perfect at it, definitely slack sometimes, but when you seek and you search out the truth, the Most High reveals things to you. So the 16th chapter here, now this, if you read the chapter in its entirety, and again, I'm pulling segments, but it's always important to read the full books, right? But I've gained an understanding, and so I'm able to pull for this and understand what it's really speaking about in its totality. But the 16th chapter is when the Most High is, again, remembering how He brought us up as a nation, the black people. As Israel, we were His chosen people and still are. And so He used metaphor because, again, He is the divine supreme, and we may not be able to understand on his level. We can't. And so he speaks in a way using metaphors and comparing things on our earthly realm so that we can understand. And so in the 16th chapter, he's saying, we were bare like a baby, naked, with blood all over us. When a baby comes out of the mother, it's blood and it has the amniotic fluids all on it and all the stuff that was inside of the mother. It has the leftovers, so it has blood and things like that. And he said we were just wallowing like a baby, just crying, and he washed us and cleaned us, and no one else helped us, but he covered us, and he loved us. And here it goes, starting from the 8th verse, partial of the 8th verse. I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swore unto thee, and enter into a covenant with thee. Right? Saith Adonai Yahuwah. And thou becamest mine. We were his. We became his. Then washed I thee with water. He washed us. He cleansed us away. He cleansed the blood from us, and he anointed us with oil. And that is a very ancient practice. It is still done today, commonly during marriages and even anointing of someone being elevated into a different position. I clothe thee also with richly woven work. And so again, follow me, because with this here, I begin to recognize how the Most High thinks and how he would expect us to even adorn ourselves, because he adorned us in the beginning. He covered us with richly woven work, and he clothed us with sealskin, or in some books it may read silk also. And I wound fine linen about thy head. So there we go. He clothed us with fine woven work, right? Richly woven work. So you can understand a royal garment that covers you. And then he wound fine linen about our head. So that means that he wrapped our head, kind of like a turban. And I did some extra looking into, where is it? This is me. So yeah, let me get to it. I was looking in the Hebrew here, and here it goes. It was right there in my face. When in this chapter, now understand that this book was written in Hebrew, and even parts of the prophets was written in Aramaic, some of them. But I was studying, and when it has here in Ezekiel, he covered me with, I'm sorry. So it has, when it says he covered our head, he covered it, it has the word sanif, and that means a turban or a head wrap. And then the verb lahat sanif means to wrap or to tie up. And so when you read it in the English, it's a good translation, because he said that he wound, fine linen about our head. So the Most High would cover our head with a turban. And so he's using metaphor to understand that this is royal clothing when the Most High chose us as his people. And this is metaphor. But he gave us all the riches. And so if you're a rich royal people, this is how you would dress. And then he goes further to say, and I covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments, and put bracelets upon thy hand, and a chain on thy neck. And I put a ring in thy nose, and earrings in thine ears, and a beautiful crown upon thy head. And he's just explaining how we were when we entered this covenant with him. How he dressed us with royal things. That's our land. He gave us the beautiful culture, constitution, and we were so blessed that we were like someone walking with royal clothing on, covered. And in his sight, that is, in the Most High's sight, that is beauty and splendor. And I hope you follow me. I read these things again because I'm beginning to understand that the Most High would want me to be modest. Closing out in Exodus, the 28th chapter, the 2nd verse. when again he's speaking to Aharon, the Kohanim. And Israel is a nation of priests. We have priests that have to carry out certain tasks that we can't, but we're a nation of priests. And so if the Most High would say how he's going to dress an individual, then, I'm like, okay, then maybe I should copy, not replicate, but in a sense, understand what the Most High is trying to show me. And so he says, and thou shalt make holy garments for Aharon thy brother. He's speaking to Moshe, for splendor and for beauty. And in the Hebrew it says lekavod utifaret. So the word kavod in Hebrew means honor and respect and dignity. So the Most High is saying, dress for honor, dress for respect, dress for dignity, right? And then the word Tif-eret, the word means glory, it means splendor, it means beauty, it means magnificence. And then when it changes into another stem, you get to adorn. And so when you dress yourself, when you wake up or you're going somewhere to dress up, and you're adorning yourself, the Most High admonishes us, and he says, dress yourselves in a way that you would receive respect and honor and dignity. And so again, that is why I choose modesty. I hope that you followed me. This is part of my Real Talk series, trying to be more open and be me. As if you have listened to my BU podcast, I definitely listen to my own podcast because I try not be too wise for others, but also wise for myself. And so as an Israelite daughter, I'm learning to choose modesty over anything, because it also is beautiful and it also is very attractive. And so if you can agree with me, then let's try it together. Young women my age, if you're listening to me, you're probably older than me or younger than me. I'm just trying to, each one teach one. And so these are things that I've come across while studying. The Most High has blessed me to be able to understand, at least, because there was a time where I didn't understand. And so I choose modesty because I would want my daughters to be modest. And I would want whomever I attract to look at me and look upon me in a way that I'm reflecting the Most High's glory, that I'm reflecting Yahuwah Sevaot, the creator and maker of heaven and earth, that I reflect his glory in not only the way I dress, but even my thinking. And I'm striving to be more modest in the way that I think. And so I feel that once you become aware of these things and you work on yourselves internally, you begin to reflect this radiant being. As if you read in the book of Exodus when, I believe it was Exodus or Numbers, when Moshe, he was speaking with the Most High one-on-one. And the Most High's Spirit was so close to him that when he left his presence and he came down to the crowd of Israelites, the congregation, more so the multitude of the people, Israel, you black man and woman, when Moshe finished speaking with the Most High, his face glowed. It glowed with beams of light because he was that close to the Almighty. And we have fallen so low, but it's still, when you fail and you fall, aren't you still supposed to get back up? And so I believe that being modest, as I said earlier, is part of our redemption. Changing the way we dress and letting go of the European and Western clothing and wear, because if we are a nation and we are really a people, then why don't we dress that way? And I've taken upon myself to start being more modest. This head covering is a sign of modesty. Again, it's not written to cover my hair, but I don't think the Most High would be upset if I over-exaggerated modesty. Do you? And so it's not something that I permanently wear. I definitely like wearing my hair out and adorning my hair with jewels. But at this moment, I'm striving to be more humbled and be more modest. Be more modest. With that being said, don't ever forget to work on yourself internally. Seek the Creator on your own, as you are given this wisdom and advice from those older than you, like me. My father, he's given me so much wisdom that has allowed me to finally understand the little bit that I do understand. I don't really understand much, but just a little bit. And so I respect those who taught me. I respect the women who were modest during my young ages that helped to paint that picture of what a woman should be. I don't have to walk out of my room, walk out of my house with tight-fitting clothes to grab attention. Modesty also gravitates the right attention. With that, don't forget to check out my other podcast. Feel free to message me on things you want to hear from me or anything. I'm a very open person and down to earth. I don't look down on anyone. I'm not in that position, only the Most High is. And also, you can follow me on TikTok now. I did make a TikTok. It is just going to have small segments of my podcast in case you don't watch the full video. And you can find this also if you like to just, I guess sit in your room, or if you're going to work or things like that and you just want to listen to audio, this will be available in audio. And don't forget to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But most importantly, check out my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even Anchor.fm. You can help to support my podcast by subscribing to it for as little as $4.99 a month. It helps to keep this podcast going, believe it or not. And I really do appreciate the support that you all show me. And again, I'm always going to say it, put the Most High first, put Yahuwah first. Whether you are familiar with that name or not, that is his name. If you do the work and you do the study, you will come to realize that everything wasn't taken away from us as a people. His name was left, and I pray that he would continue to even guide you and bless you to reach your greatest higher self, because the power lies within you. There's a portion of the Almighty in us. So adorn, as this body houses that spirit of him in us, adorn it with beautiful clothing. And don't forget to be modest. All praise is due to Yahuwah. Shalom, shalom.
It's the darkness of the night that speaks. It's the shadow of the night that lingers. The shadow, oh, the shadow, the shadow, the shadow, the shadow, oh, the shadow.